for it. Should be
Akshi
like,
will be.
I want to say.
Akshi is the
I'll
one
say.
answering now.
Where is the kid in you? Let this kid come out.
Simi, according to me, I believe the Newton's third law was the most amazing invention. To every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction.
Right. And how have you figured that? Like, what came to your mind before saying it?
Because even if you implement in our daily life, it is very important, and it's one of the best invention I've seen.
Yeah.
Even for your emotions, for anything, it is true.
Absolutely. It is absolutely true. That's a really big one. I mean, now we went going to the absolute like underlying aspect of the way this physics work in the world, which is pretty much that for every action, there's equal and opposite reaction. And the whole science is based on it. Newtonian science was the fundamental of whatever we were able to create and using the technology and understanding how the environment works. Fantastic answer. Thank you, Shruti. And thank you, everybody. So, well, you know, we are more than 20 people here. And when we go for the workshops like this, you know, we make it like a big deal. We're like, oh, I gotta be in this workshop for 45 minutes and I have to listen, watch her, think. So I just want you to be like absolutely easy with it. I'm not here to teach you something. I'm here to explore some of the inbuilt aspects, the fundamentals of our existence, and just try to remind you. My whole job is to remind you that you do have the resourcefulness, you do have all the capability and the aptitude and the attitude and the internal faculty to make your life better and better and better. And, you know, we do it all the time. We try to read good books. We try to listen to great people. You know, most of us spend at least some time in our daily life to feel inspired. So this session is all about that, bringing that inspiration onto the surface and taking some key takeaway points so that you can start to introspect on them, remember them, and then see the results coming once you apply them. Okay, so just engage fully. It's all for you. And if you have any questions anytime, anywhere, you can always ask and we can always explore it together, right? Okay, so today what we're talking about is cultivating authenticity. Authenticity is one of the very important, I would say, sought after words in leadership these days. And the more and more I think about it, the more I explored it for the last 2 days. I was, you know, looking at some of the research and many different articles and books on it. The more I realized that it is basically the most fundamental requirement of a human being. Because when we are not authentic, we are covering ourselves with some facade. And then we start to experience anxiety and stress and low confidence. And we sort of are living someone else's life. We feel lost and we feel directionless. And authenticity is our ability to be self-expressive, to be vulnerable, to be true to our being. And when this doesn't happen in at our workplace or in our personal life, we start to feel a lot more stress. So I was reading this book, and this is called The Gifts of Imperfection by Dr. Brené Brown. And she said something really cool, and I would just like to read it from this book about authenticity. Where is it? Okay, here we go. She said, I really liked what she said. I think we should be born with a warning label similar to the ones that come on a cigarette package. Caution, if you trade in your authenticity for safety, you may experience the following: anxiety, depression, eating disorders, addiction, rage, blame, resentment, and inexplicable grief. And you can go ahead and read this book. It's a fantastic book. This is the 4th time I'm reading this book, but every time I open it, I find something, you know, worth learning from this book. So this is exactly what she's saying, that when we're not authentic, we tend to develop all this underlying subconscious overactive mind, which is more biased towards a negativity, which is more, you know, stressed and overwhelmed and is trying to fit in all the time. And why do people become inauthentic is because they're craving for safety, because they feel judged by other people, because they don't know if they're going to come up and say what they really mean, then somebody else is just going to feel unhappy about it. And especially this all starts to happen in the very beginning, uh, from our childhood. And this goes a lot to the parents, the type of parenting that you had. If your parents allowed you to be who you are, then obviously the way you look at the world is entirely a different story. But if you have craved, let's say, one parent's attention because he want or she wanted you to be in a certain way, then your whole life is all about fitting in, because then you're trying to just adjust with people so that you can, make them happy. And there's nothing wrong with the adjustment, but it shouldn't be an inauthentic adjustment. It shouldn't make you miserable. Now let's understand it in a practical way at our workplace. At our workplace, we deal with people all the time. It could be your superior, people who are subordinates, your team members. And while interacting with them all the time, sometimes obviously you do not say things that you should have said, because sometimes you don't find the right words to say it and you remain in that conflict. And you also sometimes do not open up and share your own feelings. Sometimes we do experience feeling of low confidence. We feel shameful, we feel guilty, we feel that we don't know enough. But since we're not authentic, we don't say it. And then what happens is the gap keeps on increasing between the people. And when that happens, eventually you start to lose interest at your work. You start to build, this lack of connection with people around you. You are disconnected from your job. You don't feel the belongingness anymore. But if someone, especially a leader of the company, gives you the space and says, hey, listen, you all are one, and we're going to be a team of people where authenticity is going to be one of the values, then people will just come. They will be excited to come to the workplace. They'll be like, I know what I got to say. I know how to express myself. I know that I can be valuable, because all of you are valuable to this organization and to each other and to yourself, because the reason you're working here is because you see the growth. And you're going to grow leap and bounds when you are more and more authentic. So in a recent article I read on Harvard Business Review, there's an author called Vanessa Butte. She did a survey on employees, and a couple of thousand employees, and especially in some of the companies where authenticity was one of the values, she figured that the employees were way more productive. They had more belongingness. Their stress levels were very low. And then they felt that they were experienced this joyfulness while they were engaged in the work at their workplace. So obviously authenticity is a lot to do in terms of how we experience our life, in terms of how productive we feel, how much growth and success that we attain in our lives. So now the question becomes, so how do I become more authentic? What are the insights around it? What are the applicable tools? What can I do to become more authentic? So the first thing is to recognize your top 5 values. Becoming self-aware and recognizing what my values are. So let's say if your value is truthfulness, and you happen to engage with some people in your household or at your workplace where you're feeling that you're bypassing the truth and you're not saying what you needed to say, you're just covering it up, you will notice that at the face of it, everything will look okay because you're trying to, balance things out. But internally, you'll have this conflict. You'll not feel happy about it. You'll have this subconscious stress because your conscious awareness and your subconscious awareness both understand that truth is one of your fundamental values. So when we compromise on our values in our daily lives around the people that we work with, the people that we live with, the situations or the circumstances, we start to experience a lot more stress. And this all starts to stem in from the subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is 95% of your personality. In fact, your subconscious mind is the root cause of your personality. The 5% of your conscious awareness that you are right now following me is the awareness that listens, comprehend, and makes some, rational or irrational decisions, and is logical thinking. That is what your conscious mind is. So Subconscious is who you really are and how you feel, what kind of emotional behavior you express out in the world. So first is understand what my top values are and notice in your life if I am compromising with some of these values, because if you are, then I guarantee you there is a lot of conflict in your awareness. There's a lot of turbulence in your emotional life. Second is, don't fear other people's judgments. Well, this is a big one, and this is true for everybody because we've grown up to please people around us. It could be the family members, your older siblings, or elderly people in the house, or teachers, and then eventually your bosses. We try to fit in the world and try to make sense of the things so that we can be secure and safe. But while we are doing that, we somehow put ourselves in this cocoon, and we only say the things that do not hurt other people, and also in turn does not bring us any kind of harm. Now, obviously, we all are manipulative to a certain extent in life because we don't want to push people back. But at the same time, it is important to be an assertive person. It is important to be vulnerable and say what you mean, because once you start to do that, you become more and more confident. And I see the major reason around when people, around not being totally expressive is the fear of judgments. So let's say if I'll tell you to make a video on your biggest weakness, you'll be like, what are you even talking? Why am I going to say to the world, what am I really bad at? But what happens is when you do that, you'll notice that there are 500 people who will come up and say, oh, you know what? I suck at this too. When you're vulnerable, you set an example and you build connectivity. Because the fundamental reason of fear is that I want everybody to basically agree with my belief system or agree with what I have to say, agree with my fundamentals. But when we understand that all the people in the world are going to be different because their mental conditioning is different, then you suddenly have this realization that, yeah, it is possible that my thinking around this particular topic is entirely different than this person, and both of us are okay because both of us are the result of this subconscious mental conditioning that has happened over the years. What I am and what I am expressing out in the world is nothing fundamentally unique. It is the combination of so much of information that I've absorbed. It could be absolutely right information or absolutely wrong information, but my belief is decided on that. So when I recognize that my belief is my story, is my revelation, is my truth, her belief or his belief is his subconscious mental story, his truth, his revelation, and both of them can be true. So then what starts to happen is when you get criticism, you don't baffle down. You'll be like, okay, maybe they had to say something because that's what their belief is, what their idea is, and it's perfectly okay if they don't agree with me. So now you're not afraid and are not even taking it as a disrespect, but you are putting the equation straight. You are giving them that due respect and not getting upset if there is any kind of negative criticism. And that gives you the courage to express yourself and to say what you mean and be more confident in your story. Because at the end of the day, we are all living our stories. And through these stories, we are trying to make sense of our life and trying to go about achieving what we feel is right for us and what our heart is aligned towards. Now, the third is recognizing the pattern and the times when you are inauthentic. This is really cool practice, trust me. If you sit down for 20, 30 minutes and start to think about, when was the last time I was just putting a facade on, or I was lying to someone, or I was just not being honest. So you'll notice that there's a pattern. That pattern could be around certain people, in a certain situation, or this fear of criticism that, as I said before. What is this pattern for you? Once you start to notice the number of times you have lied or number of times you have put on the facade or didn't say the truth or were inauthentic, this pattern is going to tell you that there is an underlying fear of something. And once you recognize that pattern, then you take charge and then you say to yourself, now I understand that I have this pattern. And if I have this pattern, what is this telling me? What am I afraid of? What is something that I got to change in my belief system to overcome this fear? And what would happen? And that's the last point. How would your life be different if you apply those insights and those revelations and try to change those beliefs? And notice, and in your mind visualize how different would I feel if I'm more authentic around those patterns. Now, probably that those patterns could be, as I said, could be in the workplace, could be in the household, or with your spouse, or with your kids, or with your friends. Could be any situation that you are in where you feel that you just randomly lie because you don't want to prove yourself, you don't want to express fully, and you don't want to say what you really mean. Notice that pattern, and then figure out the fear. And the fourth is, now visualize what would happen if you start to express yourself fully in the situation. What would change? How would other people notice you? How would you feel yourself within your own being? Would you feel more confident? Would you feel more relaxed? Would you feel that the weight is over your shoulder just to keep on putting this facade on? And what type of confidence would emerge from your inner being? And would that make you peaceful? So this is the exercise that I want to do today. And hopefully we'll speak more about it once you have the answers in the coming week. Because I promise you, authenticity and fullest self-expression is your birthright. You're here on this planet just to express yourself. You're not here for any damn thing. You're not here for any achievement. You're not here to make a lot more money and build houses, because that is the byproduct of the life that you're living. It's automatically going to happen. But you gotta be feeling the life. You gotta be, involved with the life and engaged with the life the way you are. And it simply doesn't mean that you're gonna be disrespectful or be like, hey, this is who I am and take it or leave it. No, but you're gonna be using the right language and be assertive and set the boundaries of your life around the people, around the circumstances, the type of quality of life, the quality of that life that you wanna live in, and all the experiences that you find meaningful in your life. Okay, so please do this exercise. And once we talk next time, I'm definitely gonna speak with a couple of you and see what results are we getting. All right. So I hope this was insightful, and I'm waiting for some of the questions from you, at least one or two before we go into our breath work and meditation for today.
Well, I've heard what you say, but could you please explain authenticity in layman terms?
Well, in the layman terms, it simply means saying what you mean, doing what you want, and just being who you are. If you want to say something, say it. If you want to do something, simply do it. And if you want to be in a certain way, then be it. Do not feel pressurized by people around you, by situations around you, because the pressure is nothing but it's a subconscious fear. Fear that I'm not going to be accepted. Fear that others might reject me. Fears that I'm going to make my father or mother or brother unhappy. Fear that society would reject me.
But don't you think that this will lead to reckless things done by reckless people in the society?
Well, anything in life, when you go overboard with, if you keep on eating, if there's a 10-course meal in front of you and you be like, oh, because I'm just gonna eat it because I gotta eat it, you're gonna put on a lot of weight, right? So anything that we do recklessly is a reckless behavior. So authenticity doesn't mean that you're gonna be rude to people, but authenticity means that you are fearless in the pursuit of your life. And you believe that all the things that you're trying to pursue is heart aligned. They're not a pressure on you. Because I work with many, many people one-on-one, and I do multiple workshops every day. This question comes up again and again. Why do I lose my focus? Oh, I set up this goal for myself, but I cannot fulfill it. Why do I not feel happy even if I have so much of money in my bank account? And the reason is because you're not authentic. You really don't love what you do. You really don't like the person you are. You want to say something, but you say something else, right? So our fullest expression is the gateway to the deeper happiness. And of course, a lot more success too.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Thinking about the questions, right?
We can't see anyone. I don't know if they're just there or... Guys, your camera is...
We should make it a mandatory thing, I think, the cameras. All right, who's gonna do it? So we have less time, so let's just quickly take one or two more questions. Anything that comes to your mind, let's explore that.
Any questions, guys?
Any takeaway? Do you think you're going to sit down for 10 minutes and practice it? Like figure out what my patterns are? Where do I put a facade on? Where do I lie? Where do I be a little bit dishonest? So go back for the last couple of months and find out some of the situations and see if there's a pattern. Do you agree, Shane?
Yep, definitely quite a number of takeaway. Not only we have to evaluate ourselves, I would rather be thinking that how do I work on my subconscious mind? So that's what you mentioned, that it's bringing me like 95% of my personality. So how can I work more on my subconscious thoughts?
Beautiful question and very important question. See, I think my message to the world, if you go to my website, is all about conscious creation. Conscious creator is a being who is conscious of the present thoughts and then choose his life. And in fact, I would say choose all the actions that he's going to perform and pursue consciously. We are all of us are the result of our past experiences, all of us. Because one past experience, for example, the family that you were born, and you started to notice who is around me and what type of culture I'm in, what kind of family I grew up in, what is my religion. These all are the things that you started to just absorb before you even started to speak, isn't it? You started to speak later, clearly, but you already knew who your parents were, who your family was, where were you located. So your subconscious was sensing all the information, and it is getting stored and stored and stored and stored. That's why people who live in America have a very different subconscious mind than the people living in Africa or India or anywhere else. We are the sum total of all the subconscious information that we have stored. So there is nothing unique about anybody's personality, to be very honest, unless they become conscious. And what is the reason of becoming conscious is because I want to stop being an autopilot if my subconscious conditioning is a hindrance. Now, for example, I could have said that, oh, I came from India, I don't even speak English that well, I'm already divorced at a younger age, what the society would think of me. This is all like, the people push you back and you yourself push yourself back because of all the stories that you keep on telling yourself, or the societal norms that you have learned through. And when you say to yourself, hey, but listen, is this helping me in making my life better? Is this helping me in my fullest expression? Is this helping me in being, the person that I want to be and exploding my potential? If the answer is no, then obviously you're going to have to take the conscious charge. And then you're going to ask yourself, oh, by the way, if my life sucks right now, what are the type of thoughts that I'm thinking? And where are they coming from? And you notice that they're coming from the past. A heartbreak, a divorce, the family, blah, 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 all the drama that has happened in the past, which is sort of the mental block. And then conscious awareness is that I understand that I do have a mental block, and it's fine. Everybody has it. This is how we grow. This is how we learn life. But I am now, at present, in this very moment, going to choose that conscious thought, which is going to take me towards the life that I want to live. That conscious thought will create the neural network in my brain Which one gets wired, gets fired. So neurons that gets wired together, fire together, or the neurons that fire together, wire together. So basically when the neural connection becomes solid, it starts to become our being. It starts to release those chemicals in the body that makes us feel that being that person that we want to be. So very simple example, if I want to be an athlete, and if I, for example, if I have like zero muscle in the body, but I want to be an athlete, what do I have to do? I have to just pick up the weights every day. And what will start to happen is then picking up those weights is going to affect my brain. The neural connection is going to be a brand new neural connection, which once gets solidified is going to change my body. Then automatically my body movement, my sleeping patterns, my habits, my diet, everything is going to change, right? That's the practical way of shifting your body mind. But the same thing is happening with your thoughts too. When the brain changes when we pick up the weights, but the brain changes when we think consciously. So the first thing is accepting. First thing is detaching, accepting that it is what it is in the past, but that's not what is going to define me. I'm going to define myself with the way my heart and my inner being is aligned towards, and I'm going to choose the conscious thoughts that are going to take me to the conscious action taking. And those actions are going to take me to my desired destiny. Okay, so that's why practices like meditation, contemplation, introspection, sitting with yourself and doing the work comes into the play.
Sure.
All right, guys?
Thank you.
Long answer because I thought I'll just go deeper into this so that everybody else can take the benefit too. Thank you for asking, Shane. All right, guys, let's go into our today's breath work. Relax your body. Sit up straight. Focus on your breathing. Feel the hot air going in and out. Feel the cool, fresh air going in through the nose and the hot air coming out of the mouth. Repeat it for a couple of times. Take deep, cool inhalations. And full exhalations. Today, we're gonna do 4, 6, and 8 breath work. 4 inhalation, 6 hold, and 8 exhalation. Since you've been practicing breath work, you understand that breath has this extreme power to calm your senses and relax your brain activity. And every time you take breaths, be conscious of it and take a deep inhalation so the breath reaches your diaphragm and your chest fully expands. It's like pumping the air in the balloon. So you pump the air in your body through your chest into your diaphragm, and then Release the balloon. The air comes out. And then we're gonna also do the breath retention for a couple of seconds. If you can do 6 seconds, that's perfect. If you cannot, you wanna just give it a shot for 2 or 3 or 4. And each time you practice breath work, your breath retention capacity increases, and that's where the magic happens. It increases the vital energy in your body, it activates your parasympathetic nervous system, calms you down. Let's begin. Inhale at the count of 4. Hold. Release from the nose at the count of 8. Inhale. Hold. Exhale through the nose. Complete exhalation. Continue at your pace. Deep inhalation, full exhalation. Subconsciously continue to relax your body. A couple of more deep inhalations. Hold the breath and deep exhalations. The deeper you breathe and the fuller you exhale, the more and more relaxed you become. Now take normal breathing. In this stillness and peace in your heart, find your true essence. The authentic self. That inner child that wants to express its joy and beauty of the heart. This inner child is wise, authentic, joyful, peaceful, playful, and fearless. Notice the smile on the face of your inner child. He lives in the background at all the times. Smile back at him now. And set an intention to bring this child, this happy, fearless being in your conscious life more and more every day. Become one with it. Because that's your true nature. This is who you really are. The joyful, playful, fearless, happy being. Embrace it. Hug that inner child and promise him to make him one with you. Now with a gentle smile on face, open your eyes. I hope you're all feeling beautiful. Thank you for being present in today's class with me. I hope you're feeling more relaxed and one with your inner child.
I feel like very silent. How was the guys? Please share with the poll. And you can share a few words if you want and ask questions if you have any.
I know after the meditation, I was like, oh, let me be in this feeling, you know? I myself do that sometimes. I forget that I'm in a workshop. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and hopefully I'll see you next session. And please try to do this practice and let me know the results that come along with it. I'm going to try to do that myself. All right, take care. Bye, everybody, and I'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.